Hey, Linda, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. Um, let's go. You're the first one in the house. Just did the unboxing video of my new canner. It's a small canner. I did not think I was going to need anything large to start, but it's a start. So there's a few people going to be coming over. I've got myself some iced coffee. Um, had to pull my hair up because even though I have an air conditioner in my room, I just felt sweaty and yucky. And hello, Priscilla. This is my little sister popping in. Got a couple others that may or may not show up today. So what did you think of the canner, Priscilla? At first, I'll show you. You're the first to see this. This is the cranberry, or I keep wanting to say cranberry for some reason. This is the blueberries, the blueberry compote. It does seem runny. I don't know if we use too much fluid to blueberries. But I do understand there is natural pectin in here, and that it will thicken also as time goes by. And all of them did seal right off the bat. Yeah, Priscilla, there was a little left over yesterday, and Peggy went ahead and she had the rest of the vanilla ice cream, and she poured that over it, and she said it was very good. It's just so basic. Shirley, thank you for coming. Glad you're here today. Good to see you. Very good to see you. And Bree, thank you for coming over here, hanging out a little bit. And again, my little sister Priscilla, she has a lot of experience with canning. She and her mother-in-law canned for many years, and Linda was teaching her to can. So going back in time a little bit, our mother was a canning maniac. And let me clear something up. In that video, I mentioned how the brains that my dad gave me. My dad was a very intellectual person. He was very smart, self-taught smart, by the way. My mom was more like the Tasmanian devil, but she was a smart Tasmanian devil. And so anyways, well, hello, Kaylee. So all of my little sister's growing up years, up into junior high, before our mom became ill, she canned like a maniac. My mother was like one of the original preppers, I think. Oh, thank you, Linda, so much. Thank you so much. That was very kind of you. So our mom was very much she canned all the fruits you can imagine. And I remember everything: peaches, pears, plums. She canned carrots. She canned green beans. She canned corn, cream corn, relishes. She canned some other things. And so anyway, we grew up with a can. And so, by the way, you know how in the van life and the RV world, I remember learning from the very beginning. Yes, Priscilla, that's what I was trying to think of. Chow chow. Our mother did something called chow chow. At the time, I didn't appreciate chow chow. I do now. And so anyway, Richard is just in the other room, but I said, please get on our channel, Richard. I know you are, honey. So our mother was a major canner, and we up until the time I was born, and we were 4 so we lived in the country for a long time prior to mine and Priscilla's birth, because we are the 2 youngest, and we have sisters old enough almost to be our mom, and our moms. 2 older, well, one is passed, but 2 older sisters, and they all were involved in that, I believe. But I did not take a liking to it. Our mother never tried to force us to learn or teach us. So I went about my business as a teenager, and I hit the road during, weekends when she might be canning. I did other things, I had other things going on. Welcome to Machinist Evolution. Welcome. Thank you for coming in. Very, very appreciative of you being here. And so but I do remember it. And so when we recognized we were not I've kind of skipped ahead. So when I was talking about, we first got into the YouTube world via van life. My husband and I'm disabled, and my husband is like, he's right there, but he's still he's more functional than me and healthier overall. And we were going to we got an RV, an older Class C RV, and we were going to go on the road, and that was it. I wish it were that easy, by the way. And there were just some things that happened, and it was not going to be that we were able to just get on the road and go. And so we came back home to our home base, and he's got some stuff going on, but you know what? I think everything is overcomable. And so we came back here. We both had to have some surgeries. I've had a couple. Richard had one. He's still got to have another. And so, and then the COVID really became pretty aggressive in our area, and we decided to go ahead and just hunker down here and stay here, considering health issues. And so that's what we did. And then other things started happening around the world, and I'm like, things don't look so hot. Oh, I wish. And as it turns out, Kaylee, my neurosurgeon, I have some secondhand, third-hand information that he may be retiring in the next couple of years, and that's a terrifying idea. And so I really started feeling some concern, and not crazy concern, not like I'm petrified by any stretch of the imagination. But I thought, why would I not prepare? By the way, it was just about 5 years ago, we had a massive freeze here. We are in the Pacific Northwest. We live in Eugene, Oregon. This is a pretty mild climate. And we ended up with this massive freeze. My father was still alive and living at home here. And we had to like pile blankets on him horribly, just hunker him down. He was fine. He's like 88 at the time, I believe, 88. I don't know. 90, somewhere in there, and he was fine. He's just like, we'll survive it, and that's just him. And we got a buddy heater, and so we just started learning about backing up, like, so for heat, for instance, we have electric forced air heat in this house, but we have a fireplace, so we have a backup for that. And we have a buddy heater for a backup for that in case of something. So we know we've also had huge windstorms in Lane County, and we know that these things happen. There's no way around living in a world where things happen. Flooding happens just west of us. Tremendous amount of flooding towards the Coast Range we have. And so it made sense to start preparing for life. And I've never been one who thought too far ahead in my some of my adult life. I do now, but my little sister, it looked like, was correcting me maybe on something about her dad. Dad coped. Oh yes, that was his favorite word. Cope. Just cope with it, Lucretia. Just cope with it, Priscilla. Don't be so emotional, you guys. Just cope with it. And so I started looking at prepper channels. I started looking at first gardening channels, and I'm like, how can I do this? I really have a very serious spinal problem, and it makes my walking unsafe, being on unhealthy, or excuse me, on unlevel ground. We do have a garden. We did not get, so in, and so I thought, what can I do? What can we do? Okay, when I say I really mean Richard and I. All right, I think most of you know that. I mean both of us. And him mostly when it comes to physical work, because it's just, I can't do much. So we did not get to get the garden in. Richard tried to, we did our rototiller, our rototiller broke, and Richard tried to do it by hand to get, to go through our garden. It just, he cannot right now. 5 years ago, no problem. Today, that's not, he just can't. And so we were not able to do that. And that really, I've cried about it. I cried. I very much cried about not being able to get the garden in. And so, so what can I do? So we have someone else here. We've got Sierra Echo 2000. Thank you so much, Sierra Echo 2000. So I thought, what can we do to become prepared for whatever happens? And I started watching people like Linda's Prepper Kitchen. I found her fairly early on, I think. Linda is, I have to say, Linda is one of the very hardest working people in the prepper kitchen world. Okay, and the hall world, making sure that she has, so I learned from people like Linda. So you go to Walmart, you go to the dollar store, you go to whatever, you check around, you find deals. So Linda is an excellent resource. And if Kaylee, if you could find Linda's channel and drop it, please, for me, I would appreciate it. Or Sue, somebody, if you could do that for me. She became one of my resources for watching, and I watch her the minute I see something pop up for Linda, I'm on it most of the time, unless I'm doing something I can't get out of. Please don't give up. So many ways to garden. Try container gardening. We have a channel on Common. Hollis and Nancy, they are fabulous. They're so back in the beginning, before I found Bob Wells, we found Hollis and Nancy. Before I found Bob, I found Hollis and Nancy. Fox Van D, welcome. Thank you so much. I started watching your video today and I got sidetracked, but I will be back on that later on this afternoon. Thank you for being here. Dee is talking some about being prepared, preparedness as well. So it is catching on to the van and travel community, and that's so important that people everywhere understand. If we were out living in our RV, I have thought this through, because you know how we preppers talk about have a bug out bag. My bug out bag is an RV. I cannot walk away from here. I can't. I could get a few blocks with my walker, but really, my bug out bag is my RV. So I noticed Bob Wells is doing now, he's doing a series on preparedness, not crazy stuff. Everybody needs prepared to the extent that we can prepare. And I'm excited about it. And since some of you came in late, I'm going to show you my niece-in-law and I canned blueberries yesterday. And I know this is not a very good visual, but it's pretty liquidy. And I'm not sure why. I don't know how, but it's a learning curve, just like anything. And I'm not going to be hysterical over the fact that they aren't perfect. And who knows, maybe in a week it's going to be great. But her intention was to have blueberry compote, is what she wanted, for like to use as like a syrup or over ice cream or whatnot. I get so many great tips from Linda's Prepper Kitchen. She is fabulous. I mean, I genuinely mean that. And so much so. There's so many out there for different reasons. I love their channels. Linda and Appalachian Homestead with Patera. She's my spirit animal. That's all I can say. And I'll just leave it at that. But she is my spirit animal. Let's see. Box and eat. Hi, friends. Yes, my bug out bag is my car. Yeah. Dee is a wonderful lady, extremely inspirational. For those of you who might not know her or not know her, who are not in the van community and the nomad community. Dee is, I think you're 68, Dee, 68-year-old woman, full-time nomad, living on her own, and is the very real deal in that world. And one of the reasons I started doing a YouTube channel, okay? Or actually, no, it's why I started doing live streams. We were on someone else's live stream, and she was talking with him. To the extent we don't give up if you can afford the fanciest gear. Yes, that's true. We were on another person's channel watching their live stream, and she was up there talking about how she could never do a live stream. She just did not think she could do a live stream. And then within a week, Dee was doing a live stream. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if she can do it, I can do it too. I mean, why can't we? You know, what's to be afraid of? You're in the matrix. I'm in the matrix. I have heard that terminology a few times. You now have blueberry sauce. Yes, it's all in how we look at it. Blueberry sauce. And it tastes good. So you know what? That's what really matters. The next 70. Okay, that's, well, I know you just had a birthday. 70, living on her own in her box van that she's built out basically by herself, by the way. Just say it. That's what I understand. Thank you, Kaylee. Patera's fantastic. You know, she just living, doing life on her homestead. So, I think I'm going to enjoy canning. So my mother, this is my mother and father's house. This is where I grew up most of my life, past age, I think I was 11 when we moved into this house. And I just, as I said, had no interest in canning. So about 25 years ago, we had a big kind of garage sale. And I asked my dad, you know, I said, I'm never going to use this stuff, Dad. Do we need to keep it? And he said, no. So I sold all of her canning stuff. And I have been kicking myself ever since I started buying cans or jars. Jars are the big, you know, my hot pepper peach jelly didn't gel today. It's still, will still go in toast, over ice cream, drizzle on cake and pies. Amen. That sounds very good. Hot pepper peach jelly. Anything hot pepper and, I just missed her. Hey, Doreen, how are you today? Thank you for coming by. Very happy you're here. Pressure canning tips. Follow directions very carefully. Yes, ma'am. So I bought a Presto pressure canner, and it's a smaller one. I believe it's 16 quarts is what I said. And what I like about this is, first of all, that it's small, which, by the way, doesn't mean a whole lot, because let me tell you, I'd have my nephew today drain the water out for me. It is heavy once you get all the water in there. And so we were following things step by step. Canned chicken breast. So I saw a recipe too yesterday or day before. It is canned Cajun pork butt with onion. And I think there was green peppers in it. So, and Peggy and I, my niece-in-law, we like the same kind of stuff. Just woke up from a nap, half awake. I know. I woke up very tired today. So I pushed myself hard yesterday. I did not leave Peggy to do all the work by any means. I was right there working right with her. And so, yeah, I woke up hurting some because there's kind of a lot of sitting off and on. Canned tuna. It's one of the things I look forward to canning because canned tuna is the best tuna. I have the 16-quart Presto canner. I love it. To fill it empty is use another pan, pour water in or take it out. So there we go. Someone who knows how to think through a problem. That would have been the smart thing to do. But yeah, I didn't think of that. But thank you for bringing it up because I'm not an original thinker, people. You know, I'm just not. So to my box ND, canning supplies are very expensive. I can almost buy a freeze dryer by that time. I get everything I need and save a ton of space for storage, but still way too much money for prepping. Yeah, I would love to have a freeze dryer. I know that there's expensive ones and there's less expensive ones. And Sierra Echo 2000 carpal tunnel. Oh God. Yeah, one of my sisters had carpal tunnel on both wrists done at the same time. Yeah, I've never dealt with it, but I do know people who have. So this canner, you know, my next thing that I'm doing is going to be pinto beans, Southwest pinto beans. Going to be using some jalapeno in them and some peppers and onion, some good spices. And by the way, one of the things I did learn is I have to pay attention just because there's something that I might like to go into a recipe. If it hasn't been tested, first of all, I'm not doing to follow tested recipes. Be very careful about that because, by the way, botulism is very real. And I watched a video. Oh, I'm so sorry. Done separately doing it. So I'm glad you got it done too, because I understand how painful it is. One of my best friends, she had it done and we went to get in my car one day and she had her hand up in the air and it was fairly freshly done. And at the time I had this very nice sport model Cadillac CTS, and it had an excellent stereo in it. And I had been listening to it a little too loud. And when I didn't turn it off when I turned the car off, I just turned the car off. And we went to this meeting together that we used to go to. And when I turned the car over, it blared the music. And poor Patty jumped straight in the air and hit her hand. And I felt awful. I had surgery. Oh, okay. Yes, I saw that. Priscilla, look for canning jars and rings at yard sales. Craig. So I have been perusing those places and what I might get. So I would like to can some pickles. I would like to can a jar. I'd like to can one of the gallon jars or half-gallon jars, some of those for pickles. I recommend, yes. I actually have that up on my up to buy when I get paid. I'm going to be buying that one. And there's also another one that's recommended. But yes, that one. And right as I have sitting here, as I'm sitting here, I have the National Institute of Food and Agriculture on my desktop. And so that something I definitely understand has to be the first thing I read. And it says not to buy anything before, not buy any books, I think before 1985. And so I wouldn't anyways, but just saying it, I did say, I read there not to buy before 1985, just in case I come across something at a garage sale. Yes, I do know. So I've been looking at recipes, and so this recipe that we used yesterday for this, a woman, she had put a blueberry wine in hers. She was going for a weekend with her sisters, and one sister loves blueberries. And this Moscato, blueberry Moscato, I guess I don't know if that's wine or not. It's just called, I know it's blueberry Moscato. And she put that in rather than water. And so, oh, it looked so good. It really did. She said, you do not have to use the Moscato. If that's not your thing, just use water instead. But so we're today that half-gallon jars aren't approved for canning. But I seem to remember people doing juice in them. I did not know that. I would have to really look into that then, because I'm not going to can something that's not approved for canning. But it only, I mean, I was thinking the pickles, because I like the whole pickles. I am a lunatic when it comes to dill pickles. And one of the things I like about my canner is it is water bath or pressure. I don't need two separate ones. So that's very helpful. Also, America's Tale, yeah, got that. 2020. Can dill pickles be done in a crock because vinegar is used? Well, I know that they used to do pickles in a crock. They're pickle crocks for a reason. Maybe I don't know, Priscilla. I do not know, Priscilla. That would have to be something to look up. I also know there are people who are called, oh gosh, what's the word? Something canners. They are rebel canners, and they do things. They've done things a certain way for so many years. They understand it. I'm not interested in rebel canning personally. It may work really good for some other people, but I don't think I'm at a place where I can rebel can. Oh, I was going to share, I had watched a video about a woman. Go to the pickles get the pickles when they're small. I plant Parisian gherkin cucumbers. They taste so good even when they're small. Yeah, I love cucumbers. I love pickled. I love everything about it. Oh, sauerkraut. Did I see that? Yes, sauerkraut. So my son-in-law and I, you just made my mouth water. Just the idea of sauerkraut. Seriously, my son-in-law, who just walked in the room, he and I have talked about doing sauerkraut. And eventually, yes, we're going to do some sauerkraut, some fermenting. If pickles on a crock, that is from right there with you. I'd fist bump you, but that's already been taken by somebody this week. And any type of canning at all, there are always safety issues. Follow directions. Yes, ma'am. So this woman, she moved from the city to somewhere in Utah, her and her husband, and she wanted to become, she wanted to can. She wanted to learn to can, do preserving, home preserving. And so she wasn't young either, you know. I mean, I think she's probably right around my age, 60. And I found her on the internet. She tells her own story, and she is a siren for doing things right. So she canned, I don't remember what it was. I think it was green beans, something along those lines. So she canned them. And then right around November, she was right before Thanksgiving. She pulled some out, ate some. It was great. No problems. Perfect. Loved them. So she got another jar out in January. And by the way, her husband ate some and was fine. Then in January, she pulled some out and ate them. And within 2 days, she was in intensive care on a respirator because and as it turned out, she had botulism, and they were trying to figure out, where did you get botulism? You know, have you eaten anything odd or different? And then it came to her, let's see, it came to her that she had her home canned vegetable, and they tested her, and sure enough, she had botulism. She was deathly ill, almost died from it. And so she very much, she told what she did is, so some of them popped, and then some of them, she didn't apparently follow any directions or have any inclination to look at directions. She actually went around and the ones that didn't pop, she pushed down. She pressed down on that center part. I know it's hard to comprehend that an adult would do that, but she did it, and she paid a massive price for that. She's very open and honest. She's very open and honest about that, and she does go, and every opportunity she has to talk about it and share her story, she lets people know all the mistakes that she made. Canned dill pickles. Oh, we already talked about that. And then, so Linda did that, huh? All right. Well, and she was perfectly healthy as far as that went. Any type of canning, they're always okay. I think I read through all this. Pickling always includes use of lots of salt. In my limited experience, if you have heart or blood pressure issues, salt is not a good thing. Serious moderation is key. Okay. Yes, Kaylee. So, yes, I'm aware. I do understand that. And yes, pickling salt is. Yes, pickles aren't good for blood pressure or heart. So yeah, I wonder if there is canning, low sodium canning. Obviously, you can get low sodium canned things, so there must be a low sodium canning method as well. Because truthfully, yeah, I watch that sodium intake. It's never been a major issue, but for some reason it is right now. I'm having some issues with it. Yeah, she doesn't want anybody to suffer like she suffered. She's just glad that nobody else that she fed with her pickle, or that got into the bad batch, that she had, probably the ones she probably pushed down, they didn't seal. Now ours sealed. We heard them pop before they were even done cooling out of the, we left them in the water for about 5 minutes, and they all had popped by that point in time. Yes, her crock was huge, and we always ate those pickles. They were so good. I'm sure Dad used to talk about Grandma, the pickles in the pickle crocks. Also, how they used to deal with meat, with lard, by putting them in crocks and putting a layer of something over them, and then lard or pork fat. I don't know, pork fat. I'm not sure exactly what, but they that's how they had cured meat or didn't die from meat. No, sweetheart, you're not a killjoy, Kaylee. You're just a very, very conscientious person, very much so, which is a good thing. I don't fault you for that. So is there anybody on here today who is seeing being affected by the food prices in your area? We live, like y'all know, we're out here on the West Coast. We're in Oregon, Eugene, right on I-5. And we have not, I haven't been to Walmart in probably in a month. I've been ordering my stuff. As a matter of fact, look right behind me. I've got some stuff to deal with that is on my table here. And I'll be putting that away. But we have to make sure that the rat or the mouse is dead in my pantry area. I can't come face to face with it. So anyway, is anybody there dealing with high food prices that you're finding just out of the shocking? D. Prices have doubled and tripled here, plus supplies are limited. So, so here in Eugene, we're not having trouble getting groceries. I do watch another channel, and here's another channel I recommend if somebody could drop his link. Poplar Preparedness, Poplar, and he gets videos from all over the country, and in some cases all over the world, but all over the country. And what I notice is that it's east to west. Honestly, there's a lot more in the kind of the middle eastern area and into the middle of the country and then into the south as well. So Dee, that would make perfect sense that you're dealing with it here or dealing with it there. I say here, I'm not there. Dang it, I'm not in Arizona. So double and tripled, yeah. Now that we have seen, prices shoot up. Yes, that is an issue. I'm keeping my receipts to kind of track what they are, what the cost is. And also, okay, just for example, I'm still not sure why the price of ketchup went up 40% where I am. I wish I could tell. Well, okay, so here's the issue. So are you, oh, Karen Boardman, hello to you. Thank you for coming in. So glad you're here. So we get a big chunk of our fertilizer from places that aren't getting along right now. For whatever the reason, we don't make it much. Okay. Now the average small person like me or you maybe going out to buy a thing of fertilizer would probably not have a big problem getting it. However, the big manufacturers who need the bigger amount of fertilizer, that's where they have ran into trouble. And so there hasn't been as much. And then you count the drought. So there's been massive drought throughout the country. And those are a couple reasons why there may be some issues with why your ketchup has gone up, because it does involve tomatoes. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. Although, yeah, I had a slice of that tomato today, Josh. It was nice to have some tomato. Hot dogs. Hot dogs are $8 or $9. So I did buy some beef hot dogs recently, and they're expensive. They're probably up in that between 7-ish, maybe 8.
So what's it going to take for you to question capitalism and realize that these pigs are just price gouging the shit out of everybody?
So there is also the issue of capitalism. My son-in-law and we've talked about this, that capitalism in and of itself
Credulity.
has issues. And I have no question in my mind, there is price gouging. But also when you're not getting the fertilizer itself so that you can plant and fertilize, that's a separate issue. But there is no question in my mind, there is price gouging going on. And I don't know how you stop price gouging.
Want to hear my philosophy?
I'm not sure.
My philosophy is, if you can't supply a good product at a decent price and pay living wage to your workers, then you ain't got a good business model and you should get out of the business.
That's true. So the idea that you pay people well enough to do the job, and imagine that. Okay, you guys got that. By me. So one of the things, so what I've been eating a lot more lately, it is what's it called, Josh? The meat substitute we like.
Oh, well, just plant-based.
A plant-based meat, but it's a particular one, Burger King.
Well,
The Impossible Burger. Okay, the Impossible Burger, you can get Impossible Whoppers. I don't know if McDonald's uses Impossible.
So much sodium. Although they use Beyond Meat, so it's like you know what you're getting. You pretty much know they partnered with an existing company to do it. So it's not like you have to worry about. Well, you do have to worry about how they're storing it and what's getting into it, but at least it's where it's starting from is a company that I trust.
Right.
And that does it really well.
Right. So Josh is making a good point that Beyond Meat does that business really well. And they make a great product.
It's too good. Your son won't eat of some of it. You know why? Because he thinks that when he's eating one of their burgers, it's a real burger. Like he can't distinguish. It's too accurate. They're too good. It's too good. And he's right. It's indistinguishable. You could put those sausages in the ball game at the concession, and none of the stupid people would ever have a clue. They would eat them till their stomachs exploded before they ever realized.
So Josh is making a great point. So the Beyond Meat company he also gets these sausages that I've not had one, but he's had them. He eats them all the time and says that you could put them in a ballpark and nobody would know it's not a regular ballpark.
The smell, it's unbelievable.
Including the smell. No, I do know. It is so D. It isn't. I have nothing against meat. As a matter of fact, I got also a thing of quarter-pound burgers that Richard and I love. I love meat. I'm not a non-meat eater. How I will just say that the Impossible meat stuff there's no way I would bank some money that a person could do a taste test and you would never know that it's not the real thing.
Coke and Pepsi, they would never know.
Yes, it's kind of like between Coke and Pepsi, right? Yes, Priscilla makes her own. She knows how to make her own. Here's Hollis and Nancy's channel. They moved a few years ago down to Florida. And they're like on their forever homestead. They raise everything. And they do it beautiful. They do it beautifully. So, yeah, if you get a chance to ever just try it out. You tried fake meat hot dog on Dad and Richard. Oh, well, that was different, Priscilla. So several years ago, when there was the mad cow scare, we did not eat beef in this house for well over a year. I would not eat beef, would not bring it in here. And since I was the one who cooked, guess what? They got what I brought in. So one time I got the fake hot dogs that just absolutely all it took was Dad and Richard and Brent, all three are looking at him going, especially Dad and Richard. This is not a hot dog. What is this? This is not a hot dog. What is this? I mean,
no, they've upped their game since a while back. It's gone into a whole other universe.
yes,
Like,
it is. It's a different universe.
You told me 20 years ago. Okay, I remember when I had my first Boca Burger. I remember exactly the time I had it because I lived at DeBose and Fillmore in San Francisco, in the middle of the city. We used to go to this burger joint. This is back when I ate meat, called the Cafe Metro. It's probably still there on Fillmore and Haight Street, the lower Haight in San Francisco. And one day, me and my roommate Brett go up there for lunch, and he's putting the sign in the window, Boca Burger, new hip veggie burger, right? You'll never be able to tell the difference between this and meat. So we look at each other and we're like, yeah, we'll try one. Sure. He's never sold one before. This is the first time in San Francisco a Boca Burger has ever been consumed, right? So we get it. We love it, whatever. And then, like, look at this. That was 1996. This is like almost 30 years ago, right? I remember when Walla Juice came out, too. It was the same time. And now I'm cooking one 30 years later. So, you know.
Yeah.
They've changed the whole game.
Right.
It's so smart.
Well, and I like actually a black bean chipotle burger, and I have a box of those in the freezer.
Variations are amazing. Like,
yes.
It's unbelievable. And if you do it in the cooker, these air fryers.
Oh yeah.
Also, the method of cooking has a lot to do, and the texture and how it comes out, and being able to distinguish it from a real meat experience has a lot to do with texture. In fact, centrally, the flavor is probably easier to replicate than the texture of these things is.
So we have an air fryer, and here's a picture of, I do not like eggplant parmesan. But this is done in an air fryer, and I would bet you $5 it is better. Really.
Why people use a microwave when you have an air fryer, I do not know.
Well, I think, that's just, I don't know.
I do not know.
I have not used it because you're the one who always makes the burgers for us. Whenever there's
I try to be chef, but this is a great thing. This is the best thing we ever bought.
Kaylee, I hope Commerce Veggie Burgers have come a long way. I hope Commerce long way. I tried a few.
Commercial.
Oh, commercial. I tried a few a long time ago. Didn't care for them. So the Beyond Meat is when they say Beyond Meat, it is. You would never know. It's not a hamburger.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's really
it's crazy.
Kind of scary in a way. Like, you're like, what? This is not really.
I know.
The last 20 years, they really worked hard on the texture part of it.
Yes, the texture.
And the smell, and it just, the whole experience, because eating is not just about flavor. It's about sight. A huge part of it is about smell, because you hold it up to your face, and you're smelling it, and so forth. So it's they got the whole 360 of it now.
Yes, they got the smell, the taste, the sight, and the texture. Perfect. So camping therapy, ground chicken and ground turkey better than using beef. Yes, absolutely. And my nephew, he's not on here, so this is his own fault. He has no idea how much ground turkey he has eaten in his lifetime, because when I make, and I haven't made a meatloaf in a long time, I just have not, and I use multiple meats. One of them.
Veggie meatloaf in grocery outlet.
A veggie meatloaf?
Yep, like not a Beyond Meat one, but a plant-based meatloaf. I bet you could make a plant-based meatloaf.
Oh, I'm sure they can make anything plant-based now.
Yeah.
Let's see, Kaylee, I thought those chickens were loaded with sodium. I believe they inject them with a sodium solution as well. My hubby is allowed 1,500 milligrams a day. That is 1 teaspoon. It's a challenge. Yeah, that's 1 teaspoon for the whole day. That's a challenge when you have to check and make sure how much is in something like chicken. How much? So one of the things I love salad. I have to say I am somebody who loves salad. I love in my salad everything I could possibly get in my salad. One of the things I really like and gives texture to it, and so it doesn't make me feel like I'm missing out, is salsa. I'm big on using salsa. No bugs or blood products, however. No bugs or blood products. Yeah, no, thank you. No. So I'm going to be making bone broth. I'm going to be making some chicken and beef bone broth. Here's Roy and Becky's travels. Oh, just a minute. Let me see. So, Kaylee, I make both. Like the chicken better. What did I see? Oh, anyways, I missed something. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Glad you're here. Hope everything's okay on in your neck of the woods. If you're in woods, I'm not sure you're in woods. Salmon burgers. Yes, ma'am. I do like salmon burgers. And if I can get canned salmon, I like having canned salmon. Yeah, make your own salmon burgers. Yep, we learned that a long time ago. So I also want to let people know, I'm sure everybody knows this. All right, Dee, thank you for coming in and finished watching that video today. And I really wish I was in Arizona right now. The heat here is very different at 90 than it is down there. It just is. Oregon, high heat is not fun. So if you don't know, and I'm sure you probably all do, but I'm just saying it anyway. So Felix, Big Dog RV has been, he's in the hospital, very sick, and it's very sad situation. So if you want to drop Big Dog RVer's link, Kaylee, I believe he did. I watched a video last night he'd done kind of throughout the day. I'd appreciate that. So a couple of other rotisserie chickens are the ones my dad made. So now, oh, I love rotisserie chicken. Although I don't have a rotisserie, I just roast them in the oven. I just put lots of like herbs in them. I do put some salt. I use some salt. I usually use cumin. If I can't use cumin, thank you so much for that, Karen. Yeah, he needs them. My understanding from his mouth and from Can't Prevent Kevin's is it is a life-threatening situation. And I do believe he got sent to a proper hospital where he can get his situation taken care of. Kaylee, yes, they have a smoker. Thank you, Kaylee, very much. Victoria May, thank you for coming by. Very, very glad you're here. Okay, so his GoFundMe page as well. Thank you for posting that. Boondocking with Boomer. Hello, Lance. How are you doing? I have to come up with a new logo because, you know, we've added prepping. We've added prepping to it. I need to come up with a new logo that incorporates both of them. I'll figure something out. I will figure something out. So right now I'm focusing on learning to can, and we've done the one blueberry stuff here. We did that. My niece-in-law and I did that. And the next thing is going to be some Southwest beans, pinto beans. And I believe we're going to probably do the Cajun pork butt. And yes, there will be salt in that. I don't know how to cook these things without salt, but I will. I am going to look and find out if there's some low sodium canning. And but it's going to be fun. There's so many things that we can that I would never can something I wouldn't want to eat. But I am building my pantry. What I do understand is that since So I am going to find out, Kaylee, about things I can plant that will come up in the late fall or in winter. Okay, so we do have stuff that come. Mrs. Dash. My mother loved Mrs. Dash, and my dad. We started getting several. Like, they came up with so many different kinds. I love them. Yes, ma'am. Those are wonderful. Very, very good stuff. The salt and pickling is necessary. Yes, it is. It is necessary. And even so, in the pork butt that I was mentioning, the Cajun pork butt, it is. They put in salt in that as well. So I freeze, doing freezing. So freezing, not freeze drying, because a freeze dryer, I mean, I don't know that I'll ever be able to afford. Is it the freeze? So there's freeze drying, there's canning, and there's one more. Freeze drying, canning, and I'm trying, or I kind of miss canning. Yeah, this is my first time. And as I shared earlier on, my mother was a canning lunatic. She would have canned us if we had given her too many more problems in life, probably. Let's see what Kaylee, sideline. I foolishly thought that lemon pepper was lemon and pepper. Turns out the main ingredient is salt. That's interesting. Rose Red Homestead. Yes, ma'am. Or sir. I can't see the picture well enough to say, yes, you're right. Rose Red Homestead is excellent. This woman is a professor, and she comes at every dehydrator. Yes, dehydrating. I do believe you can dehydrate from your oven, though. I think that you can dehydrate from the oven, but I just have to take one thing at a time. It's all I can really focus on. But yes, dehydrating. So dehydrating, freeze drying, canning, freezing, doing that. Rose Red Homestead, she does everything from a very scientific point of working with her food. And I always feel like never, ever could I measure up to that lady. She is the epitome of smart. And she does it with such grace. I mean, a lot of smart people, they're just smart and they're not necessarily nice. They make sure they're not the most smartest, they're the smartest cookie on the sheet. Need to look into the salt thing, and I'm almost sure that you can omit the salt in some recipes. Yep, I'll look into that because I do need to know. Yes, you can use the oven. Okay, thank you so much for that piece of information. I know there's another woman I've watched off and on. Vacuum sealing. Vacuum sealing is the other thing. Yes. So vacuum sealing. And that is, I believe that's the thing out of my next. Well, I need to get some Mylar bags to put into. So I have some big bags. I have my first major big thing that I bought, like food wise, was a 25-pound bag of Great Northern beans. I bought a 25-pound bag of that, and I want to get that into a Mylar bag and sealed up. Although, so the thing about Mylar bags, I've seen ones that you can get into, but it just defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose. But the vacuum sealing, you could do in smaller and wouldn't be as expensive, I would think. The smaller bags. Yes, that's what, most to least. I do know that much. So I try not to use salt as much as possible these days when cooking anything. And I let the flavor speak, so to speak. And then if I need a little salt, I know how to put a pinch in my palm of my hand and use that. I rarely use the salt shaker. I just don't. I put it in my hand, or if it's something that has to be measured for a recipe, that's exactly what I do. So is there anything that, are any of you, so it sounds like at least one of you, maybe a couple of you might currently be canning. Is there any interesting recipes or any interesting recipes y'all have done over, over time in your life? Let's see. The trick is not changing the pH. Paranoid canner, I get nervous changing any. Yes, changing recipes, that's what I understand. So I will never use a recipe that I develop myself. I don't need to. Everything has already been done. I am not interested in getting sick. I believe if you are interested in fermenting, salt is required. Yes. Just not the bath or pressure canning. So I love trying to think of the name of it. It's Korean. I believe it's Korean. I buy it a couple times, at least once a month. I buy a very spicy one. Kimchi. Spicy kimchi. I've still got some left in my refrigerator, as a matter of fact. And I love it. I love kimchi. So, yeah, kimchi, you got it so there. All right, guys. Well, what I think is I'm going to call this a day of a live stream. You confuse the issue. Replace the mint salt with regular fresh peppered meals. Yeah, there is always. So there's people who've been doing this. I now kind of have a handle on at least 5 people I would trust my life with on YouTube that are very experienced, decades-long canners, and they're not rebel canners. Nothing against rebel canners. They're alive, okay? I'm just not, I am, okay, yes, Priscilla, my little sister, and her mother-in-law made jalapeno jam, jalapeno something jam. It was very good. Priscilla, you and I should make that. Citric acid powder, set the pH. Vinegar, lemon juice, or citric powder, or citric acid powder, set the pH. Okay, I didn't know it's called pH, but I did know that vinegar or lemon juice, and I also have heard the citric powder being used. And spicy dilly beans, yes. So you and I should do the some spicy thing, because you've done them before, and we could get a recipe. Do you have access to Linda's old recipes? Did Linda ever write her recipes down, or was she just born knowing how to do that stuff? You know, because some people are. So my plan going forward, this is what I was going to say to everybody, is I think what I'm going to start doing is going forward is I'm going to do my goal. Okay, my goal is one video a week. Like right now, I've got to edit the video, but blah, 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 blah. That Peggy and I did yesterday. I've got to edit that. And then I would do that as a premiere, and then go into a live stream from there. So that's kind of what my plan is. There should be no reason that can't be done. unless we break out in World War and the grid goes down. Then I will not be on the internet. Oh, speaking of which, I do plan on, I am printing out some things. I'm printing out, some things to do with first aid. I'm printing out some canning, some more canning stuff. I am printing out some resources that, you know, should I have any issue here locally, I would still have access to, because I don't want to have to need, like I said before, when we had all the electricity go out, we were on ice for 5 days. 4 days? 4 days or 5 days. No electricity. Zero. None. And that was very uncomfortable, by the way. I didn't know what to do. I mean, so I went out and I drove around on the ice. That's what I did in place of being on the internet. Yeah, that would, I think would be very fun for us to do something together. So anyways, if you guys think of anything that you can think of about maybe something you recommend canning, come back here to this video if you can and post it. Just say, hey, by the way, I ran across this, and this might be kind of nice to can or freeze or whatever. Anything to do with home preservation. The last time, I probably shouldn't tell you all this, but I will anyways, because I'm pretty transparent with my friends. And Priscilla will remember this. So our older sisters used to go, when they were in high school, they went to something called, Priscilla, can you remember the name of it? We always tease them about it. You know the one, you know what I'm talking about. It was the precursor to home economics. So when I was in high school and I was in home economics, I know I love in-print, Kaylee. Yes, in-print can't be beat. So when I was in home, I took cooking because I always loved to cook. My mother was a great cook. And Priscilla, the Happy Homemakers Club. Can you even believe that? I have sisters that were in the Happy Homemaker Club. It's hysterical. So, but when I was in school, I took cooking class. But what I thought would be kind of fun to kind of up the game of cooking, I brought wine to school in bottles, like they were clanking in my purse. And I had intended on using those in the cooking recipes in class. Now, I hadn't had that pre-approved, by the way, but it still made sense to me. I thought it was going to be fun, and it would have made for a much more exciting class, I think. Anyways, thank you all for coming. My goal was to be here next Sunday, probably the same time. I'll let you know ahead of time. And again, if you can think of something that I might be interested in, you had a good recipe that you used, or point me in the direction of something, oh, that's something they were taught. Meet your husband at the door every night with a drink because you know he's had a rough day. I still cook. I can, even though I've been sober 27 years, I can cook with wine because I never really liked wine, if you know what I mean. It wasn't, and I've cooked with beer because it wasn't a big deal. Cooking with tequila is never going to happen in my household, though. Let me tell you, I will never be doing a cooking with tequila recipe. But yes, wine, I love wine in recipes. I think it does add, in the right recipe, it can add a lot. I have made beef bourguignon before, many years ago. It's probably been 20 years. There is also a Italian sauce recipe that is good that way. All right, so you guys have a great weekend, rest of your weekend, And so glad to see you. And if you're on the road, have safe travels and have a great week. Bye-bye.